You'd think leaving the UK would be easier the second time. When I moved to Japan, it taught me to leave things behind and, pack a bit lighter. But this is different. I'm not just going for a few months, I'm going. So if you're standing in front of your own open suitcase right now, wondering whether you're making the best decision of your life or the worst, then there are these 8 things I need to tell you before you zip that thing up. So make sure you stay right to the end. I think I'm gonna need a bigger bag. Oh my word, there is so much to pack. Hey mate, welcome back. If you're new here, I'm Sam, a British actor documenting my journey of rebuilding my life in Australia. So number 1 is spend proper quality time with your loved ones. This might sound obvious, but the amount of times I've left to go to Australia and I'm always like, oh, I wish I spent time with this person in my life. I wish I caught up with that friend. I wish I organised that sooner. It's so easy to say, yeah, I'll meet up with them at some point while I'm here, and then time goes by so fast. But when it comes to family, I feel like a lot of us, especially us workaholics, we need to save some time for them a lot more, especially if you're leaving. And the sad thing is, unless you're the one who puts the effort in to organise it, it's probably not going to happen. And that's not because the other person doesn't love you, it's just that we are all stuck in our own lives. But on the flip side, if you are the person to put the effort in to catch up with your loved ones, you'll probably have a very, very big circle of friends and family who adore you, who want to hang out with you. Another thing is, if you don't catch up with these loved ones, that's fine. You might say to yourself, oh, I've got to pack, I've got to work on the visa application, I've got to, keep checking the flights and stuff. There are a million excuses not to hang out with people, but the fact of the matter is, once you're on that plane, once you're flying to somewhere like Australia and you're on the other side of the planet, you will be absolutely gutted that you didn't spend more time with those loved ones. And remember, moving countries isn't losing what you have right now in your home country. What's important is you remember how lucky you are to belong somewhere and to have these people around you. And by honouring that and cherishing that, by spending time with them, you will hopefully be moving to somewhere like Australia without any regrets. Number 2 is sort your visa out properly. I've heard of quite a few horror stories where somebody thinks they've applied for the correct visa, they think they've handed in the application form, and then they land somewhere like Australia and they're denied entry and they have to fly back to their home country after all that money and effort, time, organisation spent, and it was all for nothing. I know it's probably the most boring part of moving countries, but it's the most essential. In Australia, the Department of Home Affairs basically advises you not to book any sort of travel before you've got that visa approved, it's locked in, and you're actually accepted and you're able to fly and land in the country legally. Make sure you double check your visa entry date, what you're allowed to do there so you're not breaking the law. Make sure you've checked out your renewals because you don't want to stay in the country for longer than you're allowed to. You don't want to screw yourself over, basically. By the way, we're aiming to hit 50,000 subscribers before the end of the year. I believe we can do it. If you do too, then hit that subscribe button. But also on the other side of it, once you've got your visa approved, you're in. You're allowed to come in legally, and that's really exciting. It's almost like completing your least favorite subject's homework when you get back from school. You know that if you do it right now before dinner time, then you can spend the rest of the evening playing video games or whatever you want to do. Number 3 is build a financial cushion. I would say this is the most overlooked aspect of moving countries I've ever seen. There are all sorts of stories about people spontaneously moving countries, right? They're like, yes, it's gonna be amazing. Don't worry about the money, but ensuring you've got some sort of nest egg, some sort of savings is absolutely essential. I made a video up here all about how much it realistically costs to move and then live in Australia. All of the prices from visa costs all the way to accommodation and rent and groceries and paying your utility bills. Basically, what I recommend to everyone is make sure you have at least 6 to 12 months of living expenses in savings. So this will cover all of your rent, all of your utility bills, transport, living expenses, the odd luxury if you like buying some clothes or you like eating out for dinner. So work out what sort of lifestyle you want to have in the country you're moving to, like Australia, and then make sure you save up before you even move. And contrary to Hollywood films, the best adventures are the ones that start from security, not just spontaneous, yeah, I'm gonna do it and spend it all on this and I'm gonna put it all on red. Number 4, remember you owe your 9-to-5 job nothing. I'm not saying that the 9-to-5 job you've worked in for the last however many years or months or days of your life, I'm not saying the people there haven't been incredible to you. I'm not saying your boss hasn't been the best boss ever, kind, loyal, but I'm just saying that if you quit your job and you're in a financially stable position to do so, book the flight, book the accommodation, move to a different country, they will replace you by Monday or maybe the Monday after. So many people feel guilty for quitting their jobs to leave their dreams. And I know that real term, a lot of us are actually working 9-to-5 jobs that we really enjoy and that make us happy. However, if you know that it's time for you to leave, move to that country you've always wanted to, then absolutely go for it. Don't let loyalty to a huge business hold you back, and you're not betraying anyone by choosing freedom. I'm not saying that when you do hand your notice in, word gets around the office and a few people make a few, snide remarks to you about how you're leaving, and it might make you feel really rubbish about yourself. I mean, I've experienced that before with people, and yeah, it doesn't feel good, but also a lot of people will be feeling jealousy. They'll be wanting what you're doing, and they might not have the bravery and courage that you have. So I think respect yourself, and you'll be so grateful you made this decision. But obviously don't put yourself in a bad financial position. If you're not ready to leave yet, if your bank account basically says, oh, this would be really risky, then I wouldn't recommend leaving your 9-to-5 job, because you need a roof over your head. Make sure you use your intelligence first and you've got a few nice digits in the bank account before you make any big decisions. Now, this part of the video is a paid partnership with BetterHelp. Back when I was working in Japan between 2020 and 2022, I was living my dream, working my first professional performing contract at one of the most popular theme parks in Japan. I'd also met the love of my life, but I was struggling. I couldn't see my family, I was anxious all the time, and although I was living in Osaka, one of the most amazing cities in the world, I was afraid to leave my apartment. I was so focused on surviving and working that I forgot to actually live. That's when I decided to try BetterHelp long before they even reached out to me, and having that weekly session with a credentialed therapist helped me slow down and actually enjoy the life I was in instead of worrying about what came next. Now, BetterHelp is on a mission to help make starting therapy easier. They'll connect you with a credentialed therapist who's trained to listen and give helpful, unbiased advice. You fill out a short questionnaire, get matched quickly, and can switch therapists anytime at no extra cost. With over 7,000 reviews and a 4.3 rating on Trustpilot, BetterHelp is a platform you can trust. So if you want to be more present in your own life, click the link in the description or go to betterhelp.com/samford to get 10% off your first month of therapy. Because sometimes the bravest thing you can do is to slow down enough to notice the life that you already have. Number 5 is cancel your subscriptions. This is one of the most overlooked things when moving countries. You'll be living in Australia, you might be on the beach, cocktail in hand, living the dream, and then you check your online banking and you've been charged for Amazon Prime, Netflix, Cineworld, all these different UK subscriptions that you thought you cancelled, but actually no, you haven't. I once paid for a very expensive Cineworld Unlimited subscription for an entire year whilst living in Japan, because I thought I was under a contract that locked me in until, I got back to the UK. Turns out I was wrong, and one email closed the subscription completely, and I didn't have to pay a penny since. But had I not have done this before moving to Japan, and I probably would have saved £200 to £300. If you have multiple debit cards and business cards and things like that, make sure you go through all of them, because sometimes we can think to ourselves, oh yeah, I'll be fine, I don't have any subscriptions, and then you actually go and have a look and you've got a couple you didn't even realise. So clean up the small leaks in your life before you start a new chapter, because then you'll have a few extra Australian dollars that you can spend on more important things. Number 6, document this adventure. Now, you might not feel like the most creative, artistic person ever. You might also think it's a bit weird to record yourself, but you should film this adventure, because at least then you'll have all of these memories captured for you to look back on in years to come. And trust me, you might think right now, oh, I'll just remember this. I don't need to take a photo. I don't need to take a video. But I promise you, you will be overwhelmed with joy and all sorts of emotions reflecting back on these videos and photos you've taken 10, 20, 30 years from now. You're going to be able to look at yourself, the people you're with, the location you're in, the weather, the light, the what you were drinking and eating. It's literally going to be a journey back in time. But on the flip side of this, make sure you also do the same thing where you're living right now. Even if you think you hate the country you're living in right now, still film the process of you moving. Your loved ones, your friends and family, maybe ask if they can say something. Film your hometown, your street, the cafe you always get your coffee from. Capture the you that's about to leave, and capture the you when you're in the other country having this incredible adventure. It will be amazing to compare the two. You will have it for your own home videos, your own memories that you can show the grandchildren and future friends and family. It'll be amazing. But also, if you did want to post it online, obviously, if you feel comfortable with that, you should absolutely go for it. Starting this YouTube channel and documenting my journey of rebuilding my life in Australia has been one of the best decisions of my life. And since consistently posting on my YouTube channel the start of 2025, I've actually made an in-person friend. Turns out he's also from Cheltenham, and we also spent some time together in Australia, and now he's a really good mate that I'll probably have for the rest of my life. And that wouldn't have happened if I didn't post a YouTube video documenting my experience. So memories, they can fade very quickly. We shouldn't always trust our brains. We can forget stuff very fast, but having something captured makes it timeless. You'll be able to look at it when you're 101 years old. Number 7, trust that leaving is growth. Leaving your home country doesn't mean you're rejecting it. It means you're expanding who you are. For me, Australia didn't replace home, it just became another home. It didn't replace my favourite smells and tastes and things I like to see. It added more to them. It's kind of what I found being an actor. The acting industry is so competitive that sometimes when you get an audition, you pray and pray and pray you're going to book the job. And then when you don't, it can be heartbreaking. But when you let go of that need, that desperation to book an acting job, you actually start finding that more auditions and more acting jobs, they come to you, and it becomes more natural. But the bravest thing you can do is to outgrow your previous life and to move on to something bigger and better. Worst case scenario, you don't like it, well, you can fly back home. So there might be people in your life trying to hold you back, but if you've saved the money, if you've put the work in to organise all this travel and the visa, and if this is actually something you want to do, then go for it. Don't let anyone hold you back. You're actually so brave, courageous, and you should be bloody proud of yourself. By the way, if you see yourself moving to Australia, I've got a free weekly newsletter packed with inspiration and tips to help you. I'll leave that in the first link in the description below. Number 8, have a rough income plan. Don't just wing this. Freedom needs funding, and we're not just talking about having some savings. A lot of the rich entrepreneurs recommend having multiple income streams, and they recommend this if you want to become a millionaire, but the same applies if you just want to make a modest amount of income but have a stable, secure life that you can relax into. Yes, you could move to Australia and just get a 9-to-5 job that pays you quite well. But on the other hand, for whatever reason, the next day, that company could close down and you've just lost your job. That's where having multiple income streams comes into play. If you have, maybe a few investments. This isn't financial advice, by the way. Maybe your savings that have, an interest rate that adds a bit of money to it each month. Maybe you have a bit of a side hustle like a YouTube channel, or you sell stuff on eBay, or you paint pictures and you sell them on Etsy, for example. Or you've got these other areas that can actually keep you paying the rent and bills, and then you won't have to panic. Because the thing is, the less money we have, the more stressed out we are in life in general. I know this because when I was 20 years old, I moved to London right after I finished university. I had no money. I was making £200 a week working in a call centre, struggling to book an acting job, and I was basically living in poverty. And because of that, my acting work suffered. I didn't have any inspiration to start a YouTube channel or do the things I love. I played piano less, and it was just an all-round sad time. Usually getting started is the hardest step. It's usually all the excuses and the worry and the dread we have in our brains that makes making money so difficult. Now, if this video hasn't quite convinced you that Australia is an awesome country to move to, then go watch this video here. It's all about the 8 free things that are completely free in Australia that absolutely are not in the UK. So go watch that now. I'll see you over there. Take care. Bye.